What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Rumble subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's Kush back at again with another New York Giants video. What up, everybody? How y'all doing? First and foremost, shout out to the Giants, man. Fanfest was an amazing experience, was a fun experience, was something I truly enjoyed, you know. The best part of Fanfest wasn't even the actual event where you went in and you saw the practice. You get to see the players and the coaches work on the field. You get to see a little bit of 7-on-7, 11-on-11 drills, a lot of, single position drills and whatnot, just generally training camp. The best part of FanFest was before that, when everybody's in the parking lot, just hanging out, chilling. And, we were there from like 3 o'clock to like 5:30. That was where most of the time was spent. And it was really fun, man. It was super cool meeting everybody. Met a couple of fans, but of course, met a lot of the people that I work with on YouTube. A lot of my friends on here. Got to meet Pest, Authentic, Tana, Bobby, Justin, LPG, obviously. Lauren from She Got Sports. A couple fans like Jaden the Champ was there. Met Cody Jintz. Met a couple other guys. You guys were amazing. It was just a really fun experience. But of course, other than FanFest yesterday, there was other news that went down. The Giants' unofficial depth chart came out, and let's talk a little bit about that. Now, I'm not gonna go through the entire depth chart for the past, I want to say 2 or 3 years. Whenever the depth chart came out, that's what I did. I just went through it. Now, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna talk about, a couple things that I spotted that I thought were interesting. A couple observations, and we're gonna start with the offense first, specifically the offensive line. So it's now confirmed, or well, it's already been confirmed, but at least as of today, on the unofficial depth chart, Will Hernandez is the starting right guard, and Shane Lemieux is going to play left guard. Now, of course, Lemieux is coming off of an injury, a very recent injury that happened in training camp, and he's going to be there next to Andrew Thomas. And while we all remember last year that Lemieux seemed to have really good chemistry with Thomas, and whenever they were playing next to each other, they just tend to do a better job than the combination of Will and Thomas. And I want to see how Will is going to perform on the right side now. Hopefully it's not too much of a switch for him, and maybe he takes a step forward, maybe he doesn't. Of course, we're hoping he takes a step forward, being the starting right guard of the line now, because for the past 2 years compared to his rookie year, it's been a little bit of a step back. Now, Shane Lemieux, I hope he recovers well, because the O-line is struggling right now, I will say that. And then looking, a little bit more on the depth, like second and third player, Nate Solder is listed as the backup tackle for both Pert and Thomas. So Pert does have the nod at right tackle. There was maybe a couple people speculating, does Nate Solder actually come back and win that job for him? Well, as of right now, it is Matt Pert. And then the inside depth it leaves a lot to be desired, at least in my opinion. We got Jonathan Harrison, who I think is going to be a fine backup center. But then we got Chad Slade as a backup right guard, Kenny Wiggins as a backup left guard. And then, Brett Higgy, Jake Burton, Kyle Murphy, I think those are all undrafted free agents. I would like for us to sign some more O-line depth. Now, I'm not too worried as of right now. I'm going to wait until, other teams make the cut downs, which is going to come very soon when we have to finalize 90-man rosters and whatnot. And hopefully, a veteran guard gets cut or something like that, and we pick him up. But we'll go ahead and see there. And then you look at the tight end spot. Keep in mind, Kyle Rudolph is injured right now. I think he's on the PUP list. So because of that, the tight end role right now has Caden Smith as tight end 2, and Evan Ingram's listed at tight end 1. Now, obviously, Kyle Rudolph is either going to be 1 or 2. I'm not sure which you're going to put him at, but when Kyle Rudolph is healthy, one thing for sure is that Caden Smith would be the tight end 3. So I think what we could kind of assume right here is that with a healthy tight end group, it would be Ingram, Rudolph, Smith, and then behind them, we got a guy in Cole Hukunatini. I probably butchered his name, bro. Cole Hikutini. I can't pronounce it. We got Cole currently at tight end 3, and then Nakia Griffin-Stewart, who was a guy from last year, if I'm not mistaken, in there. Jake Housen and Ryson John. Ryson John was somebody I was so excited about. I think that was all the way back in 2019, not even last year. Also on the list. We'll see if any of them make some noise. And, maybe they do climb their way up and beat a guy in Caden Smith for that tight end 3 spot. And then when you go to a wide receiver, as of right now, Kadarius Toney is not that 4th guy. You got Kenny Golladay, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, I think the 3 that we expected, and then John Ross beating Kadarius Toney out for that 4th spot. And then David Sills and Kadarius Toney. Now, There's a star next to Kadarius Toney, which I assume means, limited practice, because he has been in limited practice. So maybe as training camp goes on, as preseason comes and goes, and as we get closer to the season, he's actually moved up the depth chart. But as right now, Ross has the nod ahead of him, and I might be reading this depth chart incorrectly, but it looks even though as if David Sills has the nod ahead of him. We'll see how that goes, but the starting three is exactly what we expected it to be. And then the guys that are really, really battling for a roster spot, you got CJ Board, Austin Mack, Damian Willis, Dante Pettis, Alex Bachman, Matt Cole. I will say, a guy like CJ Board could make this roster off his special teams ability, because one thing I did see yesterday, and one thing I was super impressed by, was the kick return drill, and CJ Board, in my opinion, performed the best in the kick return drill yesterday. Then going over to the defensive side, one thing I noticed immediately was the fact that O'Shane Ximines was starting over Azeez Ojulari on outside linebacker. Now, they do have Lorenzo Carter there, and I do think the two starters, at least my projected starters for the two outside linebackers, will be Zoe and will be Azeez, them two in a tandem. And then behind that, I think it would be Afidi and O'Shane. But right now, they have O'Shane starting over Azeez, and there is a star next to Azeez, and I'm taking that back. I'm guessing the star actually means not limited practice, that they're a rookie, but hey man, Kadarius was in limited practice, because there's a star next to Azeez's name as well. There's a star next to Raymond Johnson, who was an undrafted rookie. Yeah, these guys are definitely, that star is just designated their year, I'm guessing. But O'Shane is not going to stay there that long. I'm just going to go ahead and assume they have them here now because he's been having a good training camp. I guess that's the only thing that's coming to mind, but me, I'm thinking about it right now. I haven't really heard much on O'Shane Ximines. Not exactly sure why he's there as the starting outside linebacker. And then they have Afidi kind of buried on the depth chart as the second backup to Lorenzo, and I definitely think Afidi's going to move up. So that right there caught my eye immediately. I think this linebacker, this outside linebacker depth chart, or specifically that table right here, is going to look very different the closer and closer we get to the season. Once again, I think it's going to be Zoe and Azeez, followed by Afidi and O'Shane, followed by Cam Brown and Ellerson Smith. That's what I think is going to end up being. And then when you look at the middle linebacker group, we got Tay Crowder starting next to Blake Martinez. And this is something I do legitimately think can happen. Now, it can change the closer we get to the season. For example, maybe Reggie Ragland, game 1, week 1 of the regular season, gets the nod next to Blake Martinez. But you guys know I have a lot of faith in Tay Crowder. I made that whole video on him. I would love if this kind of stays the same. Blake and Tay is the duo we have and is the duo of the future. I do believe in this guy, and we'll see where it goes. And then when you right in between that, I should say, for nose tackle, Austin Johnson gets the nod over Danny Shelton currently. And this is another thing I don't necessarily have a problem with, but I think the best nose tackle on our team, as a pure nose tackle, that's just a dude that's there to stuff the run and be a big body in the middle of the line. I think the best person we have that embodies that is Danny Shelton. Now, Austin Johnson did do a good job with us last year. That's why we kept him in the first place. That's why we re-signed him. Austin Johnson, let's not forget, was a good player for the Giants. And he was a good rotational dude, is what he was. He was specifically a good rotational guy. So that's why I do think people are maybe a little bit confused. People are saying that Danny Shelton should definitely start over Johnson. Once again, it's the unofficial depth chart. That's probably what's going to happen for the official depth chart. But I'm not necessarily mad or angry, or I don't have a problem with this, because he was with us before and he did a good job. I do think Danny Shelton, of course, will be the starting nose tackle. But honestly, if this is how they roll into the season with it, don't think Danny isn't going to get good snaps. He's, like, for example, it could be a situation where Austin is listed as the starter, but Danny gets more snaps. Like, that could 100% happen. But that's really the things that I caught my eye and I was looking at on the depth chart. For special teams, really, the only thing to talk about would be the return game, but I feel like we all knew who would be in talks for the return game. Jabril, John Ross, Adoree, Kadarius, Dante Pettis, and I'll add in a name there that isn't listed in CJ Board. We'll see how that plays out, but it's an unofficial depth chart, guys. What is there to say? There's going to be shuffling, there's going to be players moved around, and it's going to be different when the season comes around. But that's it for today, guys. Let me know what you all think. Like, share, subscribe, and I'm out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'll catch y'all in the next one.